movie is about an intergalactic kid whose scientist parents straight up engineer him with special powers. When things go south on their planet and the main villain starts closing in, they don't waste time and send their son to Earth to keep him safe. The story kicks off on a distant planet called Chaiton, which is stuck under a brutal dictatorship run by a cold and power-hungry ruler named Scorba. The guy's whole plan is to take over other worlds and enslave everyone. Real peaceful type. Among them is a scientist couple who decide to give their newborn son powers, hoping he grows up strong enough to one day take Scorba down. The father, Yang, personally designs the kid through genetic modification, going all in on this last gamble. Of course, secrets don't stay hidden for long. Scorba finds out and storms their lab to snatch the child. With no time left and no other option, Yang and his wife decide to send their only son far away to a planet where he can survive, grow up, and maybe come back one day to fix all this mess. They place the baby in a pod and launch him toward Earth. When Scorba's forces raid the lab, the couple refuses to give up any information about their son. That's when Scorba calls in his daughter Agatha and orders her to dig into Yang's mind. She uses her powers, finds the baby's trajectory, and reports back. Scorba doesn't hesitate and gives her a mission right away to track the kid down and bring him back. So Agatha hops into a spaceship and heads out. She catches up to the pod, but just as she's closing in, both ships crash into a satellite and get thrown off course. They separate mid-space and things get messy. Agatha's ship ends up crashing in the USA, while the baby's pod lands in a field somewhere in Spain. A nearby married couple spots the crash and understandably freaks out at first. But once the pod opens and they see a baby inside, instincts kick in and they rush to pull him out. That's when they notice something odd. The kid has a weird little mustache going on. Still, they decide to adopt him and name him Juanito Lopez. The happy moment doesn't last long. The father tries to gently touch the baby, but the second he does, his finger gets messed up and he freaks out. That's when it hits them. This isn't a normal kid. They've just brought home a super-powered baby. From there, they try their best to raise him like any other child, even though nothing about him is normal. The mustache refuses to go away no matter what they try, so they eventually stop fighting it. As Juanito grows, his powers get stronger and harder to ignore. As a kid, he's casually lifting cars, tossing people around like it's a game, and even shooting lasers from his eyes. He's also got insane speed, which he shows off during a school soccer match by basically carrying the entire team on his own. But instead of making friends, it pushes people away. Kids start avoiding him, and it all builds up to his birthday, where he invites everyone and no one shows up. That hits him hard. His parents try to explain that people don't know how to deal with someone like him. So if he wants to fit in, he needs to tone it down and hide what he can do. Juanito gets the message. He blows out his candles and quietly wishes to just be normal. Fast forward 20 years and he's been playing that role perfectly, keeping everything under control. One morning, he wakes up on his couch and gets a call from his best friend Jamie, who's wondering why he's not at work yet. Juanito lies without missing a beat and says he's already at his desk, then rushes to get ready using his powers and makes it just in time. At work, Jamie starts talking about a girl he likes and how he's planning to impress her. Juanito thinks it's a bad move, but Jamie isn't backing down. After Jamie walks off, Juanito hears a knock and uses his vision to check the door. Turns out it's the same girl Jamie was just talking about. She walks in, looks at him closely, and recognizes him. It's Louise, and she's not just any coworker, she's someone from his past. Jamie invites Louise to this small office party with just him, Juanito, and a couple of coworkers. The whole thing turns out painfully boring, even though Jamie keeps trying way too hard to make it fun. Louise eventually excuses herself and steps into another room, where she calls a friend just to complain about how dead the party is. Juanito, being Juanito, uses his X-ray vision to check on her and overhears the conversation. That's when he catches her saying she only showed up because of him. That one line flips his mood instantly. He plays it cool, excuses himself, and heads off to grab ice for the drinks. At the tap, he casually freezes water with his powers and comes back, only to realize Louise has already left. No message, nothing. So he dips out too and finds her at a train station. She spots him from the other side and waves, and just as her train pulls in, she hops on. What she doesn't know is Juanito quietly uses his speed and gets on the same train. They start talking, and the vibe actually clicks this time. On the way, they stop at a diner, grab some pizza, and just sit there enjoying the moment like normal people for once. That peace doesn't last long, though, because a group of teenagers shows up and starts messing with them. Louise jumps into the argument, and Juanito gets dragged into it too. One of the guys shoves him down, and instead of reacting, he just stays down, keeping his head low on purpose. No powers, no drama. That low profile doesn't last long. At the station, while waiting for a train, things suddenly go wrong. The train's brakes fail and it comes flying down the track out of control. Juanito doesn't hesitate. He takes off, uses his speed, and chases it down to the next station. He tries to stop it with his bare hands, but this time reality hits hard. He can't. The force pushes him back and he gets dragged along the track for a while. Still not giving up, he runs ahead again and tries something smarter. He grabs a fire hydrant pipe and sets it up as a barrier, thinking it might slow the train down. What he forgets is basic physics. The pipe bends, absorbs the impact, and snaps back, sending the train right back with the same force. The whole thing turns into chaos, and of course, a bunch of teenagers record everything on their phones. Meanwhile, Agatha has been building her own setup this whole time. She now runs a massive tech company called Chit Electronics, filled with advanced robots doing most of the work. The moment she sees the viral footage, she digs deeper. Using her abilities, she scans a robot's memory and pulls up security footage from the train station. One look is enough. She knows it's him. The next day, everyone at work is already talking about this unknown hero. Juanito walks up to Louise, who's clearly impressed, and she casually says she wishes Juanito was more like that guy. That lands a little heavier than she realizes. Juanito checks the news and starts getting uneasy, knowing it's only a matter of time before someone connects the dots. Then Agatha shows up on screen during a press conference, and something about her immediately feels off to him, like a quiet warning he can't ignore. After the conference, Agatha heads into a private room and calls her father. Scorba is older now, but still just as harsh. She tells him the mission is finally close to being done, expecting at least some approval. Instead, he throws it back in her face, mocking how long it took. She keeps it together and promises him that this time it's actually ending. Next time he sees Earth, Juanito will be in her control. Scorba accepts that and cuts the call. Later that evening, Juanito boards the train and calls Louise, who's already waiting at a restaurant for their date. He tells her he'll be there soon. Right after the call ends, a sharp voice suddenly hits inside his head. It's loud, invasive, and painful enough to make him grab his head on the spot. It's Agatha. She pulls him in mentally, guiding him straight to Chit Electronics. Once he gets inside, there's no confusion left. He comes face to face with her, and she doesn't waste time. Calm and direct, she starts laying out the truth about who he really is and why he was sent here in the first place. Agatha calmly tells him the truth, that he's not from Earth and neither is she, and that his powers come from their original planet. She lays it out straight, saying he needs to come back with her because people there are still suffering and he's the one meant to save them. Juanito doesn't buy it for a second. To him, it sounds like a setup, so he shuts her down and tries to walk out. Agatha doesn't let it go that easily. She stops him and digs into his mind, where she sees flashes of Louise waiting for him. That's enough for her to figure out he's in a hurry because of her. She tries to hold him there using one of her robots, but Juanito isn't sticking around. He uses his powers and breaks out of the Chit building without much effort. Once he's gone, Agatha switches tactics. If she can't control him directly, she'll go through someone he cares about. She orders her robots to collect Louise's DNA so she can create a replica. Using devices inside Juanito's office, she tracks down a cup Louise used. A cleaning bot copies the DNA and starts sending it back to Chit through the system. Jamie walks in right at that moment and realizes something's off. He rushes to stop it, but the cleaning bot suddenly transforms into this aggressive spider-like machine. Jamie doesn't freeze up. He grabs a cleaning stick, calls in a couple of staff members, and they all go at it until the robot is smashed. Still, they're a few seconds too late. The data has already been sent. Around the same time, Juanito finally meets Louise and apologizes for showing up late. She lets it go and opens up, admitting she has feelings for him and hoping he feels the same. Juanito hesitates and steps back, saying he can't do that because Jamie likes her. He tries to leave but stops himself, turns around, and kisses her anyway. That moment hits hard, especially since Jamie ends up seeing it. From his side, it looks like straight betrayal, and it breaks him. While he's still dealing with that, Agatha makes her move. She pulls up in a van already having a robotic version of Louise inside and uses it to lure Jamie in. The fake Louise calls him over, and in that state, Jamie gives in. The next day, Juanito goes to his adoptive parents and finally confronts them about who he really is. They don't dodge it anymore. They confirm everything and show him the pod he arrived in. While checking it, he accidentally activates a message left by his real father. The recording explains Scorba, the situation back home, and makes it clear that Juanito was sent away for a reason, to come back one day and fix it. That leaves him stuck between two worlds. He looks at his adoptive parents, clearly torn, then walks away trying to process it all. Meanwhile, his adoptive mother finds a piece of fabric inside the pod and decides to turn it into a costume. What she comes up with is honestly a bit ridiculous, complete with a bold S on the front. She hands it to him anyway, and Juanito goes along with it, taking on the name Super Lopez. They start training right away, beginning with flying. Juanito climbs up to the rooftop, takes a breath, and jumps. It goes exactly how you'd expect. He drops straight down. Kids nearby start mocking him, throwing gestures and laughing while he keeps trying again and again. Then something clicks. He gets up, focuses, and points his finger at a heavy metal sign. Slowly, he starts lifting off the ground. His parents watch from a distance, actually proud for once. He raises his other hand the same way and suddenly he's airborne, moving faster and steadier. He spins around in the sky, still a little out of control. While his parents worry he might mess it up, after a while he stabilizes and makes it back home in one piece. Not long after, Louise shows up at his place. Juanito quickly changes and brings her into his room. They sit down, but something feels off. This Louise is different. Calm, almost too controlled. In reality, it's the robotic version being operated by Agatha. She starts talking, saying she knows he's not from Earth and that he should go back. Juanito notices the shift and tries to ground the conversation. He brings up the kiss from the night before, but there's no real response because Agatha has no idea that even happened. Then Jamie takes control of the robot. His tone flips completely. He tells Juanito he hated what happened and calls him out for being a bad friend. Juanito doesn't argue. He admits he feels guilty, that the kiss crossed a line, and that hurting Jamie was never something he wanted. Juanito's words actually hit Jamie where it matters, and for a second, he backs off and refuses to help Agatha anymore. But Agatha isn't done playing games. She takes control of the Louise robot again, pulls Juanito in, kisses him, and then immediately flips the switch, slamming him hard against the wall. The impact sends him crashing down to the ground floor of his house, and the robot follows right after him. What starts next is a full-on fight. The fake Louise goes straight for his mother, and that's where Juanito snaps into action. He grabs a piece of ham lying around and blasts the robot's head clean off. Problem solved, at least for now. Agatha, still locked in, switches plans again and decides to go after the real Louise. The next day, Juanito meets Louise and finally tells her everything about his powers. She doesn't believe a single word, so he changes into his costume to prove it. Instead of taking him seriously, a bunch of random cosplayers show up and start clowning him like he's one of them. While he's busy trying to prove himself, he completely misses the fact that Louise has already been taken. By the time it clicks, Agatha sends a message straight into his head, telling him to come to Chit Enterprises if he wants to see his people again. Juanito rushes there and finds Jamie and Louise held captive in a sealed room. Just as he's about to act, a loud frequency hits the room and messes with his powers. He drops to the ground, completely weakened and in pain. Jamie tries to push Louise to confess her feelings, hoping it might snap him out of it, but it doesn't work. So they switch tactics. Instead of helping him, they start tearing him down. Insults, blame, everything. It's harsh, but it works. The anger kicks in and Juanito fires up, literally. He shoots lasers from his eyes, blasts an exit open, and gets all three of them out of there. He carries Jamie and Louise back home. At the same time, Scorba arrives on Earth and checks in with Agatha. She admits she still hasn't captured Juanito. That's all it takes for him to go off on her, calling her a failure and a disgrace. After everything she's done alone on this planet, that's the last thing she needed to hear. Something breaks in her. She snaps, pulls out his oxygen line, and kills him on the spot. Right after that, a recorded message from Scorba plays, telling her he's proud of her. The timing couldn't be worse. That guilt hits hard, but instead of backing down, she doubles down. She takes his seat and fully steps into the role of dictator. With that, she mobilizes her forces and heads straight for Juanito's house. Meanwhile, Juanito is done. He gets home, looks at his parents, and says he doesn't want to be a hero anymore. He throws his costume into the fire, ready to walk away from all of it. That piece lasts about 5 seconds before Agatha shows up in a spaceship and crashes right into the scene. She lands, hits a button, and her chair transforms into a massive combat robot. Now it's war. Juanito runs to pull his costume out of the fire while his adoptive father tries to hold Agatha off with a shotgun. It barely slows her down. She targets his father first and uses the robot's vacuum system to suck him inside. Juanito tries to stop it, but he gets pulled in too for a moment before being thrown out and launched far away. He crashes onto a football field that just happens to be live on TV. Still trying to fight back, he grabs a net from the field and heads back, aiming to trap Agatha. But the wind messes it up, and instead of catching her, it lands on his mother, who also gets captured. Agatha now has his entire family inside the robot, all gathered together. Then she turns back to Juanito and goes all in. The robot stomps down on him, trying to crush him completely. Back at the house, Jamie and Louise watch everything unfold and quickly come up with a plan. Louise tells Jamie to distract Agatha while she positions her car behind the robot. Jamie hesitates, but he steps up anyway. No way he's backing out now. Jamie runs in and pulls Agatha's attention, leading her away from Juanito. At the same time, Louise drives in and positions herself perfectly behind the robot. Jamie eventually gets caught too and ends up inside with Juanito's family. Seeing Juanito still down and not moving, Louise switches to the only trick that worked before. She reminds Jamie and they both start going in on Juanito again. Insults, pressure, everything. His parents join in too, stacking on the noise. This time it hits even harder. The anger builds up again, stronger than before. Juanito taps into that buried strength, lifts himself off the ground, and rockets straight toward Agatha's robot, ready to finish it. He flies straight up in front of Agatha's giant robot and finally owns it, calling himself Super Lopez, the Spanish hero of this world. No hesitation this time. He takes a breath and blasts the robot with his freezing power, locking the whole thing in ice. Once it's frozen solid, he doesn't overcomplicate it. Just a simple push. The robot tips over, hits the car Louise parked behind it, and drops straight into the pool. Water does the rest. The system shorts out, everything collapses, and just like that, Agata's entire setup is finished. Juanito lands back on the ground and Louise runs straight to him and hugs him tight. No doubts left now. She finally sees him for what he really is. That moment doesn't last long. His mother cuts in and points toward the spaceship still sitting there, waiting for Agata's command to take Juanito back. Right on cue, Agata pulls herself out of the pool, soaked but still standing, and looks straight at him. Juanito stays calm and tells everyone he already has a solution. Instead of dragging Juanito back, Agata takes one of the cosplayers and presents him as the real one back on their planet. Somehow it works. Everyone buys it and accepts that guy as their new leader. With that move, Agata wraps up her mission her own way and leaves, while Juanito gets to stay on Earth with his family. Meanwhile, the whole fight gets recorded from every angle. Within hours, the clips spread everywhere, and now all of Spain knows there's a real hero out there putting himself on the line. But being a hero isn't all clean wins. Reality starts creeping in. The government hits Juanito with taxes for all the damage caused during fights, and suddenly saving people comes with bills attached. On top of that, Louise isn't too happy either. Every time they try to spend time together, something pulls him away. Even during one of their dates, it happens again. Juanito notices a man in a cloak watching him. Something feels off. The guy turns around, holding a transporter, and makes it clear this isn't the last time they'll cross paths. Before Juanito can react, the man vanishes. And just like that, a new problem shows up. Another threat, another fight waiting. Juanito doesn't hesitate though. This is his life now and he's ready to deal with whatever comes next.